All right, we continue coverage of the deadly shooting at Saturday's Trump rally in Butler, Pennsylvania. The former president
if you
survived.
want to really see something that said, take a look at what happened.
There's what happened. Secret Service jumping on the president, former president, and the investigation continues as to what happened in Butler, Pennsylvania. But former Fire Chief Corey Compertori was killed in the gunfire. Witnesses say he died while shielding his family from the bullets. 2 others were injured, both expected to survive. And new details continue to emerge about the suspected gunman, 20-year-old Thomas Crooks. The FBI has yet to unveil a motive for the shooting. Records show he was a registered Republican, but he also had once donated to a Democratic campaign group. And the Republican National Convention starts today, and the shooting has prompted increased security concerns. Secret Service says they've made detailed plans for the convention over the past 18 months. They're already locked down, no changes. California has sent 61 enforcement officers to Milwaukee to help security efforts there. Welcome back, friends. I'm Walt Gray. We continue our coverage of the attempted assassination of former President Donald Trump. The GOP convention, as we said, begins today in Milwaukee. And if you're tuning in to see Donald Trump, you're likely going to have to wait until Thursday when he is first scheduled to speak, although Wednesday is a possibility because a vice presidential candidate is expected to be announced at that time. Former President Trump may come out and introduce that person. We shall see. I'm joined now by longtime Sacramento political reporter Steve Swatt. Steve, thanks for getting up early. I know we chatted yesterday morning during our weekend newscast. Where are we after the shooting on Saturday, Steve? Has the Trump campaign gotten a boost of adrenaline? We did see that when Ronald Reagan was shot in 1981. He got 8 points of a boost on that. So what has this done for the Trump campaign?
Well, I mean, we have to wait for polling to see if he's going to get a boost like 8%. I would doubt it would be 8%, frankly. However, what is interesting is that today's the first day of the Republican convention, and Donald Trump is going into this convention as a martyr who was willing to take a bullet for the MAGA people. And so I think that is going to be, you know, the big theme, and I think there's a huge rally around him and sympathy for him at this convention. I also think it's going to result in more money. Already we've seen Elon Musk, whose net worth is, what, $250 billion, saying that he gave a sizable check to the Trump Political Action Committee. We don't know exactly how much, but I think that we could see a surge in money at the time. The other point is, think of what happened, what things were like just a few weeks ago. It was Nikki Haley was a thorn in the side of Donald Trump. And Joe Biden was winning 99% of the delegates, and he was raking in the money, and everything seems to have flip-flopped for various reasons since then.
Yeah, there were a lot of people. I was on social media, and it was crazy after the shooting, people suspecting who the suspect might have been. People were texting that Trump just won the election as soon as he got up from, after the shooting. But there are about 20% of undecideds out there for the upcoming November election that are on the fence. Could they be swayed by an event like that?
Well, I think to some extent, some will, but I personally think it's less than 20%, especially in the swing districts, swing states. Basically, polling shows a lot of these states at 48 to 46%. So, so there are fewer undecideds. However, if just 1% or 2% switch or move over to Trump, that makes a huge difference, because go back to 2020, you had 7 states worth 94 electoral votes decided by 3% or more. So it was that close. I think it could be that close this year. So just any small percentage could help.
Okay, so Republican convention starts today, runs through Thursday. So they're doing theirs now. The Democrats will meet in August, mid to late August. Is there an advantage to the Democrats getting the last word in on the national stage? And also, they'll be able to respond to what happens in Milwaukee this week.
Exactly. It's always the party that is in the White House goes last. That's standard. And, look at it now. So you have a July convention for the Republicans. Vacations are still out there for a lot of families, so a lot of families aren't zeroing in on politics yet. But by mid-August, when the Democrats are meeting, kids are starting school. People are home. They're watching more television. They're starting to zero in more. So I think going last makes a big deal. You know, is a big deal, and it does help. And it's much like football recruiting, where you have 4 schools that are trying to woo one football recruit. He'll take 4 visits to various schools, but quite often the last school he visits is the one he decides on.
Is that your pitch for football players to go to Cal? Is that your last pitch on that?
We need all the help we can get.
Okay. Steve Swatt, Political, thank you. Good to get your asides on all this.